in the U.S., you have the drivers being the increased CAFE rules and regulations that are already in effect and go out until 2025, where fleet averages are supposed to be around 54.5 miles per gallon. A big challenge for North American industry. Now, there are also challenges in terms of emissions. But we see emissions are very tightly related to fuel economy. So as fuel economy goes up, emissions will go down. So there's an interesting connection between that. Now, when you look at on a global perspective, each region and sometimes each country has its own regulations about how they're going to handle fuel economy and emissions. More dramatic than what we face because we've been attacking this problem since the 1970s. Europeans are focusing on more on emissions than on fuel economy. That usually is how they drive the changes in their industry, and it forces the manufacturers and the suppliers to adapt in ways that are challenging for them. But there's also a lot of overlap then, so that the things that are working in the U.S. may also work in Europe, may also work in China and India.
So what do you see trending now in powertrain technology development?
First and foremost, improvements in the internal combustion engine. This is an area that has, with turbo boosting and downsizing the sizing of the engines themselves, and also lightweighting those engine parts and components, are the big drivers right now. You see that particularly in the U.S. auto manufacturers. This is kind of the strategy that they've been taking.
Is there really room for all of these technologies to thrive, or is there going to be some sort of natural attrition along the way?
The growth is definitely in areas that are not internal combustion engines. There's potential growth in hybrids, and as we know, hybrids come in a variety of flavors, from mild, full hybrids. The GM hybrid vehicle they call it something else other than a hybrid, though it's basically a hybrid vehicle, different form of hybridization. And so there's lots of different ways and flavors of looking at hybridization. There's also some movement towards CNG, because compressed natural gas, because of the large amounts of natural gas that have been found within the U.S. and the fracking that's being done to try to get that out of the ground. There's starting to be some movement in using more CNG in particularly fleet vehicles. If you look at a company like Chrysler, where with its relationship with Fiat, they're able to bring diesels in a way into their fleet that they were not able to do in the past. Diesels that are already competent, that they're tested, that they just need to be tested within the U.S. environment. But these are technologies that Chrysler I don't know if they really had access to in the past. And this gives them, so this becomes part of their strategy, and say, well, we're going to bring the diesels in, we're going to see how that goes, do consumers accept them, but we're always going to have our fallbacks with the internal combustion engine. I don't expect large numbers of any of these of the alternative powertrains by 2025. We're really going to be, it'll still be more focused on internal combustion engines, maybe more diesels. They're still considered internal combustion engines, a different flavor versus a spark-ignited engine. So it's really still going to be very much internal combustion engines, but we have a lot of opportunities for consumers to test out a lot of different new powertrain technologies that will be coming.